Assigned the role in the back of the room, please do so. And if you're online or here to speak in the meeting, if you'll please identify yourself so we have your name for the record. Okay, we'll get started with agenda item number 1, approve the minutes from March 6th.
I can make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion.
I can second that.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, item 2, approve the Board of Equalization Assessor approved review process report.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 2.
And approve item number 2.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that passes. Item 3, the hearing process report. Any questions on it?
I had none. I'll make a motion to approve item number 3.
Okay, we got a motion.
And I have, I'm happy with what's there, so I'm ready to approve item number 3.
Okay, motion to second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Item 4, approve or deny petition to Board of Equalization to hear appeal of property valuation after filing deadline for Peterson.
Yes, Bert Harvey, Utah County Auditor's Office. The petitioner is asking for consideration of unusual, unanticipated, or extraordinary or unanticipated circumstances. Wow, if I can speak today. They are stating that they did not receive their notice due to they moved. I looked at the notice history. The notice history shows that they took ownership of the property in 2021. The notice was sent to the address of record from the warranty deed for, I believe, 21, 22, and 23. 23 it came back undeliverable, but based on their statement, it sounds like that's when they moved into the property. The property was under construction, and they moved from their old home to their new home, and that's when the notice came back undeliverable. The auditor's office's opinion that that's not necessarily extraordinary or unanticipated. They did update their address when they filed their valuation appeal. And so based on that, I don't feel like that really meets the standard unless the board feels differently.
Okay, thank you, Bert. Anyone from the Peterson family here today or online? No? Okay. Any questions, commissioners?
I don't have any. I'm happy to take the recommendation to deny. I'll make a motion for item number 4.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'm ready to go ahead and deny that request.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, motion to deny passes 3-0. Item number 5, approve or deny 2024 new application for privilege tax exemption for Ian Swainston, hanger number 16.
Vicki Westergaard, Auditor's Office. Is Ian here? Okay. This one and the next one are privilege tax for hangars out of the airport. We haven't had one in a long time, and they only have to apply, and then it renews each year. So he mainly needs to tell whether or not it's used for commercial purposes.
It is not used for commercial purposes.
And just for the record, sorry, you're Ian?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Ian. Okay. Any questions for Ian? Okay.
No, I'm fine. If you are certifying it's not used for commercial purposes, then I can make a motion to approve.
And I will second the
Okay, we have
request.
a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thanks,
Thank
Ian.
you.
Okay, and Lonnie Woodard?
I did send him letters back in January, so I may have forgotten, since it
Okay.
was a while ago.
So we
In
can
case-
continue that item and throw that on the next one. I'm fine with that one going on one of our monthly meetings.
Okay.
So
I can support moving that to a monthly for this one.
Mr. Chair, if I can, just to provide
please.
some process. I don't believe the privilege tax does require, the privilege tax code does require them to actually appear to have an application approved. If in Vicki's opinion, where she reviewed the application, the property would qualify, then the board could accept that without requiring the owner to appear. Basically, privilege tax is the property has to be used for personal use, not commercial use. It has to be leased and has to be leased in their name, not in the name of an entity. I don't know how complete the application is because I haven't reviewed it, but just pointing that out if the
Okay.
board
I
wanted
like that
to.
because I'm, as you know, like,
Yeah.
I want to make life easy.
Yeah.
Ian, the one before us, showed that
Yeah.
he was able to show up. That's the
Yeah.
only issue that I would
Yeah.
draw
So
with that,
just,
right?
just providing that information to the board for the board's.
Understood, Commissioner.
Well, Vicky, was it a complete application? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was complete, and I
recommendations?
couldn't find anything on the application showing that they used it for commercial purposes. They
it
weren't doing
was-
any
and it's leased in
write-offs
their
or
name?
anything. Excuse
It
me?
is leased in their name.
Yeah, as far as I know, I can't see that part.
Oh,
Between them and what, Provo
The-
City, Provo
Yeah.
Airport.
I'm fine accepting it. I can make a motion to approve item number 6.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
And I will, sorry.
Go
No,
ahead.
I will go ahead and second number 6.
Okay, thank you. Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you, Vicky.
The next ones, since I'm retiring in July, Mandy North, I wanted to introduce you to her, like Brian introduced me when I came. We've been training her, and she'll be taking over my place. And the exemptions, applications have all been going through her. People have been asking her the questions, and I've just been overseeing. So from now on, Mandy will do all the talking.
Thanks,
Okay,
Vicky.
I would entertain a
I don't know if I
motion
can
to-
handle that.
That's what I was just going to ask for, Commissioner, was a motion to deny her retirement. Is that what I just heard you say?
I,
I'll second that
that's
motion.
exactly what I said.
Sorry, Vicky. You're with us forever, but welcome to our new friend. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, item number 7, approve or deny the 2024 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for specified charitable organizations in the attached list.
I've got no issues on the continued ones for the charitable organizations. Did anybody from the auditor's office have any comments or concerns? No, all right, then I'll make a motion to approve item number 7.
And I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Number 8, approve or deny 2024 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for specified educational organizations in the attached list.
Same, were there any questions or concerns? All right, then I'll make a motion to approve item number 8.
Okay, motion to approve item 8
Yeah. And I will second.
and a second. All in favor,
I'm
please say
very
aye.
familiar with that.
Aye.
Sorry.
Nope, you're okay. What was that?
I was just commenting how very, very familiar I'm with that list. So thank you.
Very good. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, item number 9, approve or deny 2024 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for specified religious organizations in the attached list.
I'm just going to point out that it's 30 pages long.
Yeah.
Longer than the education and the charitable combined times 3. Welcome to Utah County. But I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve.
And I will second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that passes. Number 10, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Boys and Girls Club of Utah County.
A resounding yes from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
So I'm Jenny McFarland. I'm Deputy Director at the Boys and Girls Club. This is for a fourplex we purchased in February to provide low-income housing for families with children. And so we've been running a housing program for about a year and a half, and this is just an expansion of that existing program.
Thank you, Jenny. Any questions for Jenny?
I
I think I heard a motion almost from Commissioner Sakovic. But do you
Yeah.
have questions first?
I don't have any. I'll accept his motion and I'll second that.
Okay.
Before the board makes a motion, I think.
yeah.
Adam, do you want to say it or do you want me to do it?
What?
I'll make
Okay,
a
go ahead.
comment.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make the point, Adam Beck, County Attorney's Office, that the amount needs to be prorated.
Oh, right. From the date of purchase.
Correct.
Right.
Good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion still stand, Commissioner Sakovic?
Obviously support yes.
Okay. And
With the
second,
amendment of the proration.
with the amendment of the proration.
With the amendment, with the proration to the
Okay, thank you.
approval, yes.
Still good with your second?
Yep.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Item 11, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Catholic Health Initiatives of Colorado. Personal property account numbers attached. Yeah, come on up, Nicole.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Nicole Milo with Common Spirit Health. We own the Holy Cross Hospital. We purchased it on May 1st, Holy Cross Mountain Point. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have on our tax exempt status, but we are a national not-for-profit health system. Very excited to be in Utah with the acquisition of the 5 facilities in the Salt Lake County region, Salt Lake region.
I don't have any questions.
I don't either. I could make a motion to.
No, I have none. And I warmly welcome you. So I'm happy to support this motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Hold on, sorry,
go
Mr.
ahead, Bert.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Probably should see if Adam or Miranda have any questions on this before we move ahead.
Adam? And Nicole, are we specifically the
So much for
Lehigh?
you not saying anything.
The Lehigh.
We had a few questions because this application was under religious and not charitable. All the other hospitals do under charitable. And so there are different rules.
Oh, gotcha.
Because the charitable, you
I
have
assumed
to-
it was under charitable as well.
And then as a charity, then next year they would have to provide us a charity plan and come in and present that to us every year.
If you'd like.
Yeah.
As a
I
national,
don't.
oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner.
I was gonna, I apologize for interrupting, but I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and let you continue to finish this, but I thought we had pretty much all of these under the same umbrella. So that's what's throwing me off.
This one is since this one is new, that is why you're probably wondering that, Commissioner.
Yeah,
New application.
got it.
Okay. Go ahead, Nicole.
Would you like me to speak?
Yes, please.
Okay, awesome. So we're a religious, faith-based, obviously not-for-profit national health system. So as part of the IRS requirement of us being both not-for-profit and then religious, we are in the process of conducting our community health needs assessment. We are ahead of schedule. We are partnering with BYU and Utah County Public Health. So we'll have those that charity plan in place. We'll also be able to report next year all of our expenditures for community benefit qualifying activities, as well as the charity care and any Medicare, Medicaid shortfalls that you guys would like to see. I did bring those numbers for you if you'd like them for today, since the acquisition date of 5/1, if that's helpful or helps clear up any confusion.
I think what the confusion is that it's listed under religious now, but we just need to get it changed to be under charitable.
Okay.
So can we make a motion to change that under charitable?
Well, the application requirements for charitable were much higher than religious. So religious essentially, if a church owns a property, it essentially qualifies. The question here is whether a health system could qualify as a religious exemption or could qualify as a charitable exemption. This would be a first time for Utah County because all other charitable health systems in at least within Utah County all fall under a charitable. All fall under the charitable qualification and have a higher degree of documentation, a higher degree of what needs to be provided to show that they meet the charitable standards of the state, including a charitable care plan, which is basically if we want to consider them as a charitable, their application is currently incomplete. We'd probably want to continue this so they get us the rest of the information. But I think the question here is whether or not they should be charitable or they should be religious. I mean, obviously the Catholic Church is a church, but
Right. But also, just because a property is owned by a church doesn't mean that it's tax exempt, because we see that regularly
Right.
with properties owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or like Centerpoint, how we
Yeah.
didn't give them the exemption on the tumbling center that they rent across their parking lot.
Right.
Right. So just merely being owned by the religious entity
Right.
doesn't make it tax exempt.
And it's probably a good question of whether or not the charitable is more, if they do qualify for the exemption, is it more appropriate for a charitable or is it more appropriate for religious?
The other part of that is this includes personal property tax, which I would imagine would include all of the equipment in the hospital,
Yeah.
which would probably not be
is correct.
religious equipment, but would more be under the charitable exemption.
And And are you leasing the space from a different organization where this is operating?
That is correct.
Okay.
We do not own the land.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not the property, it's the personal property,
Yeah.
which the equipment wouldn't be considered used for religious purposes, I don't
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I mean, my recommendation is that we,
Continue this with the charitable plan. That's what I would think so too. Yeah, I apologize when I made that motion. I didn't realize it was listed under religious. I assumed it had been listed under charitable. So basically what we're saying is we're gonna have to switch your application from religious to charitable, and all those numbers that you had for us today, we'll need to go through that application
Okay.
to give you time to make that adjustment. I'll make a motion to continue this item, and then we'll switch it from a religious to a charitable, and then during that process, you'll be asked for all of that information, and then you'll present the charity plan with it.
Okay, and may I ask a question? What is the timeline and kind of corrective action plan or on this application? Do we have a timeline that we need to abide by?
Probably, when is our next Board of Equalization meeting? April 25th?
Okay,
Would
so have it
that-
ready.
Is that acceptable for a
We
timeframe?
we will
I mean, a
make it
little over a month?
acceptable, is what I can tell
You
you.
don't want to, you know,
I mean, we could continue it for 2 months till May if that was easier for you, is what
Okay.
I think what we're getting at.
Okay,
One other
Is it
thing.
We do have to have it submitted by May 1st.
Okay.
So, yeah.
okay, so if that works in your time frame to be able
Okay.
to.
I would
kinda
say May
reevaluate
1st,
your-
and we can put it on the next agenda item afterwards.
I
We have
also
to have
do
a decision by May 1st.
Oh, you have to have a decision by
Yeah.
May 1st, so it does need to be the April
Yes.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also do have Paul Williams online who's requesting to speak. I assume he's with you.
yes, Paul or Lynn, if you have Lynn online, she will be able, she's from our national team.
Okay, let me go ahead and promote both of them, see if they have anything they'd like to add.
Hello, thank you so much for taking the time to consider our application. I'm Paul, the one who submitted the application. I'm the tax manager here at Centura Mountain Region Common Spirit. I just did want to point out that I love the conversation and thank you for addressing, our religious and charitable purpose. Our mission really is to assert and offer healthcare in the spirit of healing and God making his presence known. So it's my fault, to make sure that I take responsibility. Hopefully, this doesn't cause too much of a ripple. But we do intend, to offer all of our services with the underpinning of healing people in a faith-based manner. So thank you so much for the consideration. And we do look forward to revising that application and getting it back to you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul. No problem at all. It's always okay to default to God.
Great. Okay,
Perfect.
any other questions from anyone?
So I'll make a motion to continue until the April meeting. And then that gives you time to submit that charitable plan and change that application.
That sounds great. We'll be back. Thank you.
I'm happy to support that proposal.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to continue to the April meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, item number 12. Approve or deny the 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Heritage Behavioral Health Systems.
Russ Depew, representing Heritage Behavioral Health and Heritage Schools Incorporated. So this is an application that we attempted to submit a couple of years ago when we purchased the property, but because it was not being utilized as a residential treatment center at the time, we tabled that and pushed that until we were actually occupying it and utilizing it as a residential treatment center. January 15th, we admitted our first student to that facility, and we now have 3 students residing at that location.
Okay, we may have some more questions for you, Russ. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. We'll have staff give us their take. Okay,
Any concerns from Bert or Adam?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will make a motion to approve item number 12.
okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 That passes 3-0. Thank you. Item number 13, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Ivory Innovations.
Okay, good.
Multiple locations.
Hello, my name is Darren Haskell. I'm the Director and Chief Operating Officer of Ivory Innovations. I also have Jim Bryan, our accountant and consultant, here with us today. The application is the first phase of 240 affordable townhome units. It'll be for rent in Lehigh. We follow the IRS guidelines for affordable housing, and we use the HUD documentation for the area median income. These units will either be 50, 60, or 80% of the area median income, plus some can be at market rate. And so this is the first phase. I think you're probably looking at a list of parcel IDs for those first units. There's probably some open space parcels as well that would probably be listed as parcels.
Okay.
I have one
Darren?
comment. The last serial number on that list is, we're unsure, is it reserved for future development? The remaining, are you developing half in?
That's correct. This is the first phase, and then the second phase is another 100 units, and so you'd have some vacant land for the second phase as well.
And that's all contained in the last parcel on the list. Everything else is.
Page 3.
Yeah.
The very last one. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other comments from staff?
Just from a process standpoint, that last parcel where it's being held for future development is not currently being utilized yet. That would remain taxable, but all the other properties on the application would be considered, could be considered for the exemption. Just any vacant land being held for future development under statute has to remain taxable until it's actually put into exclusive use at that time.
So the motion would be to pass this minus that last parcel.
That'd be correct, yes.
Okay, I can make that motion.
And I can second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that passes. Thanks, Darren. Item 14, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Mountain Country Home Solutions.
Hello, I'm Eric Jorgensen with Mountain Country Home Solutions. I'm our operations manager. The two parcels that I have on the list now is a single-family home that we just purchased in Salem for affordable housing purposes, and that has been rented out. The second is the Orem Senior project that I brought last year that was denied because it was still a vacant parcel. And that parcel is currently being built, a senior fourplex for affordable housing purposes. We anticipate having that completed by late summer and leased up in the early fall of this year. And I do have some pictures of the project showing that it is in the process, if you would like to see those.
Okay.
Bert, can you remind us on does it have to be occupied or is it just in process?
No, the exclusive use comes into effect as soon as construction commences or a building permit is issued. I think if they're under construction, then it's definitely commenced.
All right.
Orem's
Okay.
good.
Then I'm good. I'll make a motion to approve item 14. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Second on 14.
Yes, item 14.
Yeah, and you said,
Yeah. I just simply saying, second on number 14.
Terrific. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. That passes. Approval or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for South Mountain Community Church, personal property. Item 15. Anyone here from Mountain Community Church or online?
I don't have anyone having raised their hand yet. If there's anyone online from South Mountain Community Church, please raise your hand. There we go. We can get them.
Let's look them in
All right,
church.
here we go.
Did you like my picture the other day?
Yeah. It came in like 4 days late. That's why
Alrighty, can you hear me okay?
I'm probably wondering. Can you hear us? Okay. We can hear
Yeah,
you.
there we go.
Okay.
All right, great. Yeah, my name is Rodney Smith. I'm the pastor of operations at South Mountain Community Church.
We have put a petition for, I guess, a property tax exemption, because we are a religious, church. So if there's any questions, I can answer any questions that you have.
We may have some. Rodney, let me check with staff. Staff.
Do you guys have any questions?
No question.
All right. Just, this is obviously being used for religious purposes, I'm assuming. You're not renting it out commercially or anything?
No, ma'am. It's always, that's where we hold our church and our sermon, our weekly meetings and stuff.
Fantastic. All right, I'll make a motion to approve item number 15.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay.
We can add that
passes.
to our 30 pages.
Yep, for next year's. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yep. Item 16, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Tabitha's Way personal property.
Wendy Osborne, I believe is the person.
Is there anyone online for us, Bert?
I haven't had anyone raise their hand. If we have anyone from Tabitha's Way, please raise your hand so we can.
Maybe move on and see if they're
It's not pulling up on mine. Bert, can you help me? Is it, is this a new location or an existing Tabitha's Way location that they're?
This is personal property count. I think. Let me see if I can pull this open.
I can answer that. They have a new location in Saratoga Springs.
Okay.
It's personal property there. They don't own the building.
Okay, terrific. I think with their other locations, it's probably consistent with their application. Okay.
Is this one that do they need to present a plan or
They
anything?
do. They don't need to present like a charitable plan or things like that, but the statute does require them to be here to present, so the board's not able to waive their appearance.
Okay.
So I'd recommend you continue.
Can we continue this item, or is it necessary?
I think you just made that motion, Commissioner. Thank you.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you very much. Item 17, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Hello, Kelly Taylor with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Tax Department. You have any questions on?
Well, let us know what these facilities are, and yes, donuts. It's my telephone.
So we have a rule that when her phone goes off, just like I did yesterday in a public meeting, she has to bring donuts. So you're welcome to come
All
back
right,
and get
good
one.
Officer double
job.
booked. Okay.
Yeah. Excuses don't help with donuts, but she does buy gluten free though. So if you
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so I'm warning you, I am
the
celiac, so if
problem.
you get a donut, it's gluten-free. Will you just
Sorry.
maybe give us an overview of what these new accounts are for?
Sure. Two of them are for brand new buildings that are in the process of being constructed. And the other.
Meeting houses?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct, meeting houses. And the other, let's see, three are slivers and portions that adjoin an existing meeting house that that have not been included before in any exemption applications.
Okay.
And they're small little bits. And I put pictures with my applications.
Yeah, we're familiar with those wonderful slices and little bits that get formed
Yes.
all over the county. And so you're just adding them
Yes.
to, and they're contiguous too.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I can make a
Well,
motion to.
sorry,
Oh,
I don't mean to cut you off. Any issues with staff? Or
No
questions?
concerns.
Okay, sorry, Commissioner. Go
No
ahead.
problem. Motion to approve item number 17.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that's
Thank
approved.
you.
Thank you, Kelly. Item 18, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Turn Community Services. Anyone here from Turn? Or online? If so, please raise your hand.
I'm promoting them now.
Okay, promoting. Thank you.
I believe we've got Phil Shumway and Melissa Gardner online. Maybe I'll just allow them to talk.
Melissa,
Okay.
Phil, we can see ya.
Maybe while they're, can you hear us okay, Phil or Melissa?
Go there. Now I'm unmuted.
All right,
Okay.
terrific.
So this is Phil Shumway. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Turn Community Services. Our application is for 3 day programs, day and art programs that we lease in 2 in Springville and 1 in American Fork. And our application is for personal property exemption.
Okay. Thank you. We may have questions for you, staff.
No questions.
No questions. Okay. Any questions from commissioners?
None at this point, no.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve item number 18.
Okay.
A second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that passes. Thank you, Phil and Melissa. Item
Thank you.
19. Yep. Item 19, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Utah Regional Housing Corporation.
Okay, I've got someone online.
Someone's being promoted now.
Okay. We got Shannon Daly, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, Shannon Daly from Utah Regional Housing. This is for an apartment complex that we had previously master leased, but we were able to receive a grant from the state to purchase it, and we provide low-income housing to the chronically homeless at this location.
Okay, thank you. Staff.
No questions.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Let's approve item number 19.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Item number 20, approve or deny 2024 application for new property tax exemption for Utah Valley Family Support Center.
Hi, this is Janelle Christensen with Family Haven. Our DBA is Family Haven, and the Board of Equalization is very familiar with this project. It has been split into lots of different pieces, so I've gotten to speak with you lots of times for the ARPA funding and then for the first parcel, and then this is the second parcel for our Lehigh location that has currently been used for parking and will continue to be used for some parking and outdoor gathering space for our families and clients in our mission to prevent and treat child abuse and family trauma.
Thank you, Janelle. Do we have any
No questions.
questions from staff, commissioners?
No, I'm familiar with the work
None.
we do. I can make a motion to approve item number 20.
Okay, we have a motion
Second?
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that passes 3.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Item 21, approve or deny 2024 charity plan and 2024 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for community nursing services. It's personal property. Anybody there, Bert?
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's see. Is it Neela?
Hello?
Hi there.
Yes, Mila.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mila Bear. I am the area manager for Provo CNS Home Health and Hospice Agency. We are a nonprofit home health and hospice agency found throughout the state of Utah. And we do a lot of charitable care for patients, as well as we have several different programs, such as Senior Wish programs, and we do a lot of charity immunizations and vaccinations, as well as honor salutes for the men and women who have served our country, who come on to either home health or hospice with us. And all of these programs are funded through either charitable care or donations. And we probably, like last year for 2023, we did about 34,000 in charitable care, honest salutes, and senior wish.
Terrific. Thanks, Neela. Any questions from staff?
No
Concerns?
questions.
Okay. How about commissioners?
None from me.
Okay.
I can make a motion to approve item number 21.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that
Thank
passes.
you.
Thank you, Nia. 22, approve or deny 2024 charity plan and 2024 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for Heritage Behavioral Health Systems and personal property. Twofer.
Yes, the twofer.
Russ, right?
Yes, Russ
And
Depew with Heritage
Depew.
Schools.
Thank you. Okay.
And so Heritage discounts or waives tuition on individuals that have engaged in their treatment plan and will need additional treatment in order to complete their program. And so we offer families that if they're engaged in the program and have been there for some time and financially need that. Also, we offer the services of our facilities once in a while for the families to come in and visit their kids, and they'll be able to use that during their visit with their families. In fact, that's what's happening right now on Parent Weekend with those kids. So, any other questions on that?
No questions.
Any questions from commissioners?
don't
Okay,
have
thanks,
any.
Russ.
Thank you.
All right, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve item number 22.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that passes. Item 23, approve or deny 2024 charity plan and 2024 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for Mission Alpine Valley Care Center and personal property.
I don't see anyone raising their hand online for Mission Valley.
Okay.
I apologize, Commissioner. I don't remember, Ben, I don't know. I'm trying to remember if they're required to appear and answer questions about the charity care plan, because this is a continuing statement. They're not necessarily required to appear. Vicky's telling me, yes, they need to appear. So probably it'd be appropriate to continue this for 1 month and allow them to make it to the next meeting.
Okay. And if anybody from Mission Alpine Valley Care Center is online, please raise your hand. Okay.
Make a motion to continue item number 23 until the April meeting.
Second, number 23.
Okay, motion and a second to continue. All in favor, say aye.
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 Item 24, approve or deny 2024 charity plan and 2024 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for Mountain Lands Community Health Center, personal property.
Okay, we got Eric Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for putting us on the agenda and working with us. Our charity care plan hasn't had any significant changes, with the exception of we've added a pharmacy in our Vernal location, as well as in our new Payson location, which we moved into just early this year. And so the overall budget, as well as the charitable contribution, has grown, as I've kind of explained in the past years to this board. The 340B discount pharmaceutical program is a large portion of our charity care plan and allows us to pass on significant savings to our patients and to members of the community. And so if you note an increase in size of budget as well as the charitable contribution, it's largely due to that. We have had some staff changes as well that's increased our medical practice. But that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the changes this year.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Any questions or concerns from staff?
No questions.
Okay, commissioners?
No, I'll make a motion to approve item 24.
Okay,
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, that passes. Thanks, Eric. Item 25, accept or deny 2024 late petition for property tax exemption application for Provo Bible Church.
Okay, just to give the board a heads up, this is a twofer. The 25 and 26 are the same application. When an organization misses the March 1st filing deadline, we were able to institute within state statute to allow them to apply late because of the situation we had with another church a couple of years ago. And essentially, they just need to provide a statement as to why they weren't able to file on time and as to meet a death in the family or an extraordinary circumstance. And I'll let them explain why they weren't able to make the deadline.
I appreciate that. I'm Dave Stolarski I'm a pastor at Provo Bible Church. And I don't actually have an extraordinary, but I have what really happened, I can tell you, is that each year we do a transition and have volunteers come in and take new positions. And we had just a new gal come in as our interim treasurer who would handle this. And it also happens to be a time where we are in the process of changing from preparing for a new pastor to come next year. And it's a wild time at the church, just organization. We're trying to reorganize a lot of things. And this just fell through the cracks. It got misfiled. When we got the letter the next day, we kind of panicked, or 2 days later, I think it was, we panicked, got in our reapplication as fast as we could. We apologized profusely, and we just made a big mistake.
Okay.
So,
I was gonna say, I remember having a very similar issue with another local congregation in the same thing. There was staff turning over and things got missed, but obviously now you can list that in your processes so it doesn't get missed in the future. I think that's the most important thing.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, on that grounds, because it's in the best interest of the county and the citizens, I will recommend accepting item number 25.
Yes, this sort of thing has happened before, so I'm ready to accept number 25.
Okay, item 24 has a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you for
Aye.
that.
And any questions on item 26?
No questions.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I'll make
Dave.
a motion to approve item number 26.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that passes. All right, item 27, approve or deny revocation of 2024 property tax exemption for Sunshine Heroes Foundation personal property account and Utah Foster Care Foundation personal property accounts.
Did you want an explanation on
Yeah.
those? The first one, Sunshine Heroes, mail kept coming back, and I finally reached someone by phone from their website, and he said, we don't have any property, we'd like that to expire. That's the only communication I've been able to have with them. And then the Utah Foster Care, they are no longer at that location. It's kind of they haven't been there for a while on University Avenue, so it's closed.
So
Okay.
recommendation is to deny. Is that what you're?
Recommendation is to approve the revocation.
Oh,
The
okay.
revocation.
You're a little. I'm
Legally,
Is there
seeing what you're doing there.
anybody here to speak to it?
Yeah. Anyone from Sunshine Heroes or Utah Foster Care
No
Foundation?
one online either.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the revocation.
There you go.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Item 28, approve or deny application for review by Board of Equalization of Urban Farming Assessment Act status for Joseph and Barbara Martell.
Are number 28 and the numbers 28 and 29, they're related, aren't they?
They are related. I was just about to say that. Thank you, Commissioner Sakovic. So these are for the same area. 28 is, I believe, for the most of the parcel, and 29 is for an added bit of the parcel, but they have the same underlying issue, essentially. So,
And they go they have two serial numbers, and one goes to each of the agenda items.
yes, that's correct. I'm Katrina Cole. I'm from the Utah County Attorney's Office, and I'm here to speak on the assessor's position in this appeal. I will give a brief overview of the statutory framework and then go into the specifics of this appeal. So, as you are aware, as I've told you many times before, honestly, the assessor's office has a statutory and constitutional duty under Article 13, Section 2 of the Utah State Constitution to ensure that everyone is assessed and taxed at a uniform and equal rate. And therefore, taxpayers who are applying for this preferential tax treatment, such as greenbelt or urban farming in this case, must be strictly eligible to qualify for that preferential rate. Otherwise, we are unfairly shifting burdens to other taxpayers across the county. I know you've all heard me go on about urban farming before, but I'll give you a quick refresher. Urban farming, so for the purposes and requirements of urban farming, when someone is unable to meet the acreage requirements of green belts, but they still have 1 to 4.99 acres of contiguous irrigated land, they can apply for urban farming. Of course, under Utah Code 59217, urban farming applicants must also meet many of the same requirements as greenbelt, such as agricultural production, active devotion to that production, and with a reasonable expectation of profit. But in addition, applicants are required to show that they had 2 years of active devotion to agricultural production with a reasonable expectation of profit before they submit their application. And so when Diane Garcia, the farmland assessment analyst, reviewed the application for urban farming status from the taxpayers that is before you today, this application was denied because portions of the legal description of the 2 different parcels are not in active agricultural production for the required 2 years. So this property at issue was previously on greenbelt before it was divided by the taxpayers into parcels that fell below 5 acres, the 5-acre greenbelt requirement. And so they are now applying for urban farming. The taxpayers are contending that the time on greenbelt should qualify their parcel for that 2-year requirement. While being on greenbelt can satisfy that 2-year requirement, under Utah Code 592-1703-1A, Roman numeral 3B, a parcel has to be on greenbelt and meet all other urban farming requirements to qualify for preferential tax treatment under urban farming. And in this case, the parcel was on greenbelt, but it doesn't meet the requirements of 592-1703-1B, which states that land that is not actively devoted to urban farming may not be assessed as provided in a section above, even if the land is part of a parcel that includes land actively devoted to urban farming. So this means that there can't be areas of land within the parcel that are actively, there can't be areas of land within the parcel that aren't actively devoted to urban farming, even if other areas of the parcel are actively devoted to urban farming. So in the application, in the appeal sent to you by the taxpayers, they have highlighted in, I believe it's red and in yellow, the areas that are at issue here. These are the areas that aren't actively devoted to urban farming yet, as required by 1703-1B, because they haven't been in production for the required 2 years. Now, the assessor's office isn't saying that the taxpayers can never get on urban farming. The taxpayers can apply to have the area. There are some areas that would qualify for urban farming, and they can apply to have these areas let into urban farming. And then for the remaining areas, they can begin producing. I mean, they're, as I understand it, well on their way to being at that level of production. But they can get to that level of production, do that for 2 years, and then reapply. The taxpayers have argued that all the portions of land have been in active agricultural use because they've been preparing those highlighted areas for crops. They cite the definition of cultivate in the dictionary, which includes preparing land for crops as part of that dictionary definition. And that may be the case in regard to cultivating land. However, 17023A clearly states that urban farming requires the cultivation of crops, not of land, which does, and the cultivation of crops in this case is the actual production of crops, or at the very least putting orchard trees in the ground and not just preparing the land to have orchard trees. And the taxpayers have failed to have this production of crops. So, do we want to look at photos or anything? Are you guys wanting to see the photos that Diane Garcia
I
has
have
taken?
them here.
Okay.
Although some might think I'm watching basketball. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay. Would you,
Like the rest of America, let it be known that we are working today,
we
people.
are actually working, not just basketball.
I can verify he's looking at the pictures.
Thank you.
Good.
But yeah,
not gonna
let's
tell you what the pictures
look at the
are.
pictures.
Okay, perfect. We'll have Diane Garcia come up, and Bert Harvey, if you can pull this up, that'd be great. Let me pull them up too so I can follow along. So we'll be looking at, we'll look at what Diane has submitted for agenda item 28. That's all right. What was that? Yeah, so let's go ahead. All right, can you just kind of tell us what these pictures are?
So-
what they show?
So you can see, so this, what's in blue, outlined in blue, was the first application, number 28. And so they applied and used the entire legal description for that parcel. So the portion that is not in production is in the forefront, bottom right, you can see that big open area. So when I measured it, that was about an acre. There are some areas to the top right, along the border that doesn't have production, but I didn't cut that out. I allowed that to be in, but I did cut out the 1 acre. And that's the portion that they're disputing because they are preparing it to plant more trees and grapes and things. The rest of the parcel, they have trees. They do Christmas trees. They do Concord grapes. They do fruit trees. And so there is production on that. So if the application would have just included that acreage, it would have been approved. Okay, next one, Bert. Okay. So then they submitted a second application after the first one being denied. And the second application, they included more acreage. So the parcel that's in blue, outlined in blue, that's their home. So that, and then the lot to, up above that, to the north, but up, that right there, that is also was included in the second application. So originally, those two were individual lots. And after having conversations with the assessor's department, they were able to get those two lots combined so that they could then get the residential exemption on the whole thing, since there's a house and it's less than 1 acre, the two of them combined. So that did help them get, save some money, help get them. But the upper portion does not have 2 years production, and they're including the back portion behind the home in their second application. Okay, next one. That just kind of shows again like a closer angle of the portion that that I felt was not in production, since there were no trees, no plants or anything planted growing. Next one. That's just a close-up of the house lot, and they want the back part to be a strip and connect to the vacant lot next to it. And so, anyway, keep going. Okay, that's just a view, so that all, the part in blue and then the lot to the left is really all one parcel now. And so they included that in the second application, which was denied.
Which is item 29, is what you're saying. Is that
Yes,
correct?
item 29 is the second application. The first application was just that big one.
The whole,
But and the second, they added those, basically those two, but just the back part of the house. Okay, next one, Bert. And that just shows a close-up of that adjacent lot that's now a part of the house lot. Okay. And that's just different angles, a little different times of the year. So that one may show something kind of what triggered this whole thing. So to the left of that photo where you see the cul-de-sac, That cul-de-sac and the lot below it and the lot above it used to be a part of this. And they subdivided that off for their children to each have lots, and that's what dipped them below the 5 acres. So those lots had production, and they broke those off. So that's kind of what brought us to this process of switching from greenbelt to urban farming. Say just more of the same, different angle. Okay, these were photos. Obviously, they don't grow snow there, but that was when I went out and I walked the property with them. So this is showing that big vacant area, and it was just that. There were no plants there. You can just kind of keep scrolling through those. So these are just different things. They are preparing for that. I know since January they have dug holes and they are planting. They've started putting in drip irrigation system for that area to increase in production. So they are well on their way, but it just hasn't been 2 years in production for that large thing. These are some of the grapevines. They have different kinds of grapes. That's a agriculture building. That's their fruit trees. They do sell at farmers market. They do have a website. They are a legitimate operation. It's just that urban farming requires the legal description for the application to have all the property in production for 2 years. That's Christmas tree area. And then to the left, there's tall trees. And then on the other side of those trees, there's more Christmas trees growing. So that just kind of tells you, it's just, we're not saying that they don't have agriculture production. They do. It's just that the legal description that they provided on the first application and on the second application included areas that were not in production for the previous 2 years.
I don't think I've seen Christmas trees before. That's an approved?
Yes,
agriculture?
Christmas trees
Great.
is an approved. And there is an allowance for maturation. So you plant a fruit tree and you're not going to get fruit for several years, sometimes 4 or 5 years. That is all allowed, where the trees can be in the ground and not producing and not required to show us how many apples or cherries or whatever they got until that maturation period. But for this property, those haven't even been in the ground yet. And so that's why that portion was denied. So they do have portions that are in production and portions that are not, and the ones that are not cannot be included in urban farming until they have 2 years production.
And so I'm clear. They think, well, I was in Greenbelt, and so that should count as my 2 years prior. That's really what we're discussing today, correct?
Yes, and they also, from my understanding, contend that preparing land for crops counts as cultivation. However, that's not what the statute says.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do you have any further questions?
Not right now. We might. Are the Martells here? Okay, perfect. Come on up. You're Joseph, I presume?
I'm Joe Martell.
Joe, okay.
My wife Barbara. This is our family farm we've had since the early 90s. And, we started this journey 6 months ago when we peeled off the lot. We knew we'd fall 5 acres. We expected to pay rollback taxes for the lot that was peeled off. And in May of 2023, HB bill, I can't remember whatever, amended Greenbelt and Urban Greenbelt to address the 2-year aspect of it. And I think you would have got a PowerPoint or a PDF from me that highlights the statute in the code regarding this. And I'll just, first, I apologize to all the commissioners. Thank you so much for supporting urban farming. I know it's been a long time coming, and I know there are some who are not really keen on urban farming, but it really provides an ability for us small farmers in the urban setting can do this. Otherwise, our property taxes would basically eclipse any revenue we make on these farms. So I can go through the detail on this. Garcia give a good background of where we were on this. We applied in late September, and here we are 6 months later still trying to get through with this. Our applications took 2 months or 1 month to get denied. And so, but we tried to apply within the next day or a couple days to address the things. We have not been able to do that. But one of the things I wanted to point out, and I'm not an attorney, I did talk to a number of attorneys about this. But like I said, I'm not one. But one of the things that was amended in 59-506, which is the Greenbelt Plan, it says a portion of land from this part is not subject to rollback tax if the land qualifies for assessment under Urban Farming Act. So when we peeled off the first lot, all we got was a tax bill for the area that was peeled off. Okay. When we peeled off the second lot, that's the one that triggered us to fall below the Greenbelt to Urban Greenbelt. And based on this statute, I thought we would just get that bill. But we got the bill for the entire, it was originally 3 parcels. We ended up combining those 2 upper lots into 2. Got a rollback tax of, oh gosh, $58,000. So a farm has a hard time eating that kind of cost. We did what we needed to do to pay our taxes on time so we could get my kids' building on the lot. And we were told that we would have to pursue this process to get abatement on those taxes as well. As far as the 2-year, this is all in the PowerPoints. This is the first page in it. Part of that bill in May of 2023 amended 59-1703, which says you have to be, it's a 3-letter I, italics, whatever. You have to be devoted to urban farming for at least 2 successive years immediately preceding the tax year, or it was assessed under Part 5 of the normal Greenbelt Act. We fulfill B. So we shouldn't be held to the 2 years, but I can still prove that we did the 2 years. So that B statement was added in May of 2023, which would qualify our farm for that. And I can go on and address the 2-year requirement as well, but according to code, we satisfy 59-1703, all of 1, because of the or that was added in 2023.
Do you have?
Yeah, would you like me to speak to that, Commissioners? So
I would.
Representative Kohler's intent was clearly to make the transition from Greenbelt into urban farming much smoother. And the goal is in that Romanet 3 number subsection B to say that if the property is farmland assessment approved and eligible for 2 years, then the parts that are actively devoted to urban farming, which is the Romanet 1 of that number 1 subsection A, can be transitioned directly into urban farming. The challenge I think that the assessor's office is trying to articulate here is that in this particular case, in urban farming, every particular detail of the parcel has to be in agricultural production, whereas in Greenbelt, there's more flexibility to say, well, there can be some subsets of a parcel that are not productive, but taken as a whole, the property is actively devoted. And so you've got 7, 8, 10, 50 acres, and you have a pond, and you've got rivers, and you've got other things that aren't in active production, but the whole property in active production meets an AUM, or an animal units per month, meets the production requirements, then it's eligible for Greenbelt assessment. In contrast, urban farming doesn't allow that same flexibility with areas that aren't in production. And so that's the Romanet 1 here, is saying that the parts that are going to be transitioned can come straight from Greenbelt, but all the parts that are going to be in urban farming need to be in active devotion. So it doesn't have the same freedom to say there are pieces of the property that aren't in production. And so what Utah County has done is said, survey the land that you're going to actually designate as urban farming, make sure that land is all in active devotion. And if you survey land and say this part of my parcel, this subset here with this legal description was in Greenbelt for 2 years and it's in active production today. So it was in Greenbelt, that's Romanet 3 subsection B, and is actively devoted to urban farming, that's Romanet 1. Then let's just transition it smoothly directly in. And that was the Kohler's goal. So the assessor's position is we're saying some of these parts were assessed under Greenbelt, but they're not actively devoted to agricultural
Okay,
production.
but we can all agree, at least with the first part, that it was actively in Greenbelt.
It was in
Okay.
Greenbelt for sure.
And then this is not under discussion, Diane. It was under Greenbelt.
The house was not under Greenbelt.
Well, we're talking about the vacant land, the vacant part. Okay, so then the second part that we're wondering is that it's not actively under
Yes,
production, but you.
I can address that.
Okay, that's what I would like you to address.
So just for the definition, urban farming means cultivating food or other marketable crops or engaging in livestock production, including grazing. So we're involved in cultivating crops or other cultivating food, other marketable crops. We do have some animals, but that's not the parcel that's under discussion here. So I can prove how we are in urban farming right now. And that was, I don't know if you can bring up that second slide in the PowerPoint or not. And I can, so here's the other thing so I did lots of research, probably a couple 100 hours of researching approved urban farms in the county, plotting out their legal description on satellite to see why we were denied. And there are many examples of land in these other farms that we should have been accepted when they were. We weren't. For instance, the assessor's office saying that 1 acre they blocked out, it includes roads, farm access, crop access, storage for stuff. You could see we had mulch piles and things like that all this time. And whereas I see many urban farms that have half-acre, 1 acre parcels that are unirrigated, large areas, arenas, outbuildings, roads. And I'll have to say this, those roads are important to production. You can't have every square inch of an urban farm under crops or grazing. You're gonna have roads, outbuildings, and things like that. And the statute does give exceptions. It does mention, specifically exemptions for like buildings, irrigation aspects, and things like that. So on this diagram, the parcel you can see the yellow there was what the county said did not qualify. Originally, it went all the way down to the bottom where it was squiggled out. We're on a hill, and below us is downstream neighbors. This is a retention. There's a dam here. It's about 5 feet high that retains water in heavy runoffs and things like that. Otherwise, it would flood our neighbors downstream. So that lower part was pulled out. We had partially filled in that catch basin to the north with rubble, and it will store, I can't remember what I said, a half acre foot of runoff water to prevent getting our downstream neighbors. So it dams, and it has a pond, and I can show pictures of it just from this year of it ponding. So the catch basin below was accepted, and we're saying that catch basin continues all the way to the north for that left-hand portion of the ground. And you can see it in my drawing, the little blue over there, that's the catch basin. Also on the right, the parcel below the house is the main parcel that's under contest appeal, where they're saying we are not in cultivating that. We have been cultivating that for years. I'll tell you the experience with that. It used to be in pasture, very poor productivity, very poor soils there. It's either grade 3 or grade 4. We try to run a very profitable farm, so we're in the process of converting all that pasture over to crops. And we're making our way north because we have to amend the soil and things like that. To date, everything is planted in there now. The roads, we need access to the south part of the farm from all those road areas. When Diane was out, she was saying, well, this hasn't been planted. And that's the vineyard area there, the very north little squiggly lines. It's 0.2 acres of vineyard. And we hadn't planted that yet because we're still getting the ground ready for it. She said it had to be plants in the ground. So we planted the vineyard a month ago when the ground broke up that I could go out there and plant it. So it's all planted. I just had my shipment of extended irrigation coming in. And so what's been really hard for us, it's been really stressful for me for the last 6 months to basically been saying, people are telling me, you are not actively farming this for urban farming. We put in over 2,000 hours on our farm last year. Half of that is my time. I come home from work and I spend a lot of time on this farm. So based on statute, what I see, we should have been rolled over into it. We weren't. And even if we weren't, we shouldn't have to show 2 years, but we've been farming it for 2 years. And we are active today, like we have been the last 2 years on this parcel. Why do I care about 1 acre? That 1 acre represents about $10,000 in rollback taxes that, we feel we qualify for because we have been farming that. So I don't know if you have any other questions for me. I can give you more detail.
You say, I'm just curious, 2 years, but have you been farming since 96 when you
Yes.
took the...
So
okay.
actually, we started farming in 93.
Okay.
In Greenbelt, you have to show 2 years prior production. So we did our prior 2 years with Greenbelt, then applied in 96, and have been in Greenbelt since 96 when we fell out in 2023. And that's why I'm saying we are the intent of say Commissioner Kohler's, because I've spoken with him in the past when we're really trying to get urban farming going down here.
Representative Kohler.
Representative Kohler. And, he wants these urban farms, and we have fulfilled all the Greenbelt as well as urban Greenbelt. 2 years, current, we fulfill all the check boxes that the statute specifies, especially as of 2023 when it was updated.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Maybe don't go very far if we
Okay.
have more questions, okay? All right.
Can I just clarify something real quick?
Please.
So the parcel at issue in the first application, so 28, was previously on Greenbelt, but the parcel in the second application, 29, was not. So,
They were.
was it?
Yeah, so it was 2 parcels, but for tax.
Do you want to come up to the microphone
Okay.
so Commissioner Sakovich can hear you?
So there's lot 1 at the very top, lot 2 is our house, and the farm parcel. Those were all in Greenbelt together. And under Greenbelt, you can have your house as part of the Greenbelt parcel. When we were told we could only apply with 1 parcel in the early days, so we only did the farm. But in doing my research, I saw that we could apply for all the Greenbelt parcels, like Greenbelt allows multiple parcels. So in the meantime, we had combined lot 1 and 2 for tax purposes. And when we did our second application with lot 1 and 2, it was now combined into lot 3. It's hard to see. There's a little black Utah that blocks out all the house because all the stuff behind it is grapes and nut trees and goji berries, and there's a small vegetable pumpkin garden there, raspberries, and we've had that since day one for Greenbelt. And lot one is pretty much mostly pasture right now and some raspberries.
Okay,
I'm
thank
sorry
you.
for.
No. I appreciate the clarification. But the house wasn't part of Greenbelt, because that's not how Greenbelt works. I mean, we're not saying that this isn't a good farm, that this isn't a good thing that they have going. I mean, it seems like they're doing a lot of great work. They need to be producing crops or the equivalent. As far, if they were grazing, that would be an equivalent, but preparing the land for crops simply does not meet the active devotion to urban farming that is required by the statute.
But you said you have plants in the ground now.
Yes, and cultivating is.
Sorry, Joe, you'll have to come up to the mic for Commissioner
Just wanna make sure everybody can
Sakovic
hear
online.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it says cultivating. Production is attached to the livestock.
Yeah, and there
part
wasn't
of the statute.
originally you hadn't put the plants in the ground yet, but you have
Not the
now.
vineyard. The rest of it had already been planted. The vineyard had not been planted.
But it has now.
But it was in cultivation. So when you do crop rotations, it can take 2 years sometimes, even more. And we were not just doing a crop rotation. It was a huge change from bad pasture land that you can have 0.7 AUM per acre to, we're going to have 300 vines there. Well, we do now, 36 orchard trees that are in, and the Christmas trees, which were in last year as well. So it's been in active cultivation, and that you're producing fruit off of it. And I think someone said, you could put I think Diane said, you put the tree into the ground, it might take you 2 or 3 years to start gaining production off of it. Production is applied in that code to livestock production versus cultivating of crops.
But it has them. They are planted now.
Yes, it is all planted. Sorry.
Did you have anything more, Katrina?
No,
All right.
we would just.
I have a
ask you
question
to
for Diane, because I learned today that Christmas trees are in there. So, and on our farm, we've never had the, transition of soil, basically, right? We go from hay or potatoes, whatever, So what limitations or concessions do you have if you do have some land that is in between transitional cropping? Does that make sense, what I'm asking? And then a second follow-up question is the area down the catch basin side. Tell me how that would or would not
Okay, so,
contribute to.
yeah, so when I walked the property with them, they said that they would be planting stuff along that catch basin. It just wasn't now. So they had been filling it in and improving it, but there wasn't now, but that their future plans was, they want to utilize every bit that they can to make a profit, because they go to farmers markets and they are really, their goal is to get every inch they can in production. So I don't have a problem with catch basins. Usually catch basins are open and you can't grow anything because water will sit in them and you can't grow anything. But they had made improvements to improve the drainage and do all that. So that's not a problem. That's why that bottom squiggly part, I allowed in the legal description, if that's how they would have put it, that would have been fine. So you're saying if you switch from one crop to another and you have a time when there's nothing happening, is that what you're asking
Help
for
me
a
understand
transition?
if that's, I
Yeah.
haven't experienced that on our farm.
Yeah, so that's fallow. And so that's, technically 1 year is what has been allowed in the past, and it's part of a practice. So like when you're growing alfalfa and you've got a 10, 15-year-old field, it starts to diminish and you have to kill it off, and then they usually wait, and then they usually plant oats. Oats is the next thing before they'll plant alfalfa again, because it'll kill itself off again.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is all a part of normal practices and those things. dry farming up, Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs area, used to be Lehigh Draper area. Dry farming is you get a crop every other year, and that's a normal practice because you acquire all the moisture in the winter. You plant in the fall and you acquire. And then the next year you let it sit and you acquire. So those are all common practices. Okay. And then the maturation of the plant is plants like grapes and fruit trees and things that don't just grow like you plant a corn seed and you get a corn crop that year. Though these other crops you don't get. So it's the plants in the ground for 2 years, and then you may not get any fruit or reap any harvest for several years after that first 2 years. For sure, the first 2 years you're not going to. So that is also allowed. That the plant's in the ground, it's building its root system, it's growing, it's, and then you'll get the benefits of your harvest years down the road.
Okay.
So I just want to point out that the lot to the north of their home, they never told me anything was going on that. So I have no idea what they're doing. When I went there was nothing, and the aerial photos show nothing, so.
Okay, thanks, Dan. And Joe, I think I see nut and grapes or something on that section.
Do you have those pictures of the catch basin? Let's scroll down a little bit. Okay, so up on the right, I'm from the neighbor's property looking up. So there's a 5-foot embankment there, and you can kind of see it at the bottom. It dams up a good couple feet. And just in this winter, that was, I think, scroll down below, it ponded, right? And so if you put crops there, any valuable crops, it's going to be underwater, and that's just death to many crops. So that was just this year. We haven't had any big summer thunderstorms yet or anything like that. And that's why that catch basin cannot be compromised. And like I said, I filled it in with rubble that's permeable. I put like a real thin 1 to 2 inch cap so I could drive my tractor on it to keep the weeds down, because before I was going in this catch basin, twisting my ankle, cutting weeds before July 4th, Freedom Day, fireworks season. And so that catch basin, we cannot compromise that. Even as it is, I worry that I only have about a half acre feet of flood control below my neighbors. I have 2 widows living below me. I don't want to flood them out. As far as transitional land, this land, I don't know what the term fallow means. If it means nothing's happening, that is not our land. I can go back and to show you every year how we have been amending the soil with mulch and different soil things to bring the fertility of the soil up. Every year we do multiple. Last year we had mulch on it, and we were moving around soil on it to put that cap on it.
So what is in production just above the house? In that
above the house is just pasture and raspberries. We got goats out there. We've had goats through our thing, and now the grandkids still want goats. Our kids are too old. I have to take care of them. So we have goats up there, and we meet the AUM for that. It looks unirrigated because we've been in drought season the last 2 years. The city has encouraged us. I put on, I can't remember how many, it's metered by the city, it's pressurized irrigation. I think there's 12 to 18 inches of water put on that ground last year. And like I said, it is very bad soil for pasture. It's just, and that's why we're doing so much work and invested so much time and money on that. And so that's why it's really hard for us to go, when we're told we're not urban, we're not farming that, we are. Catch basin, and yeah. So I hope that answers those questions.
Thanks, Joe. Commissioner Sakovic, what questions do you have?
Everything's been covered, and I don't have any additional questions to ask other than point out the differences of item number 28 and 29. When we address them, we probably should address them separately or, yeah.
I have an additional question for Diane. So knowing that there's plants in the ground now on that 1 acres that's in the yellow highlighted area, with plants in the ground, would those areas count as those plants come to maturity?
So the plants would need to be in for 2 years. So they wouldn't have to.
So the ground was in Greenbelt. So I want to know if with those plants in the ground now, does that count?
No,
Why?
because they weren't in the ground for 2 years.
Okay, so I understand the meaning of the word "or."
Right.
So I'm seeing that this land was taxable Greenbelt, correct? We established that, correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay, and there are plants in the ground now, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
That's also my understanding, yeah.
I would just, to this point, like to point out 1703 1A, Roman numeral 1 says it has to be actively devoted to urban farming, and urban farming does require the entire parcel.
Yeah, but there's also a transition, and I've talked to the legislator about his transition, and this is exactly why he passed that law last year, was for this scenario. So your interpretation or not, I talked to the legislator, this is exactly why he ran the bill. It was in Greenbelt, and it has plants in the ground now. I'm going to make a motion to approve these items.
If you'll entertain a recommendation for me, board members, I suggest you deny 28 and approve 29 because there are 2 applications dealing with the same properties. Both were denied by the assessor's office. You don't want both of them approved. You
Okay.
probably want the second one that has the larger parcels
Approved,
approved.
so deny 28 and approve 29 is what your recommendation is?
I think that's what I'm hearing based on what I think you want
Yeah.
to move. I think it's cleaner if you deny 28, approve 29 with a finding that the fact that the parcels were in Greenbelt satisfies Romanet 3B, and the fact that there's plants in the ground now, you find as a board satisfies Romanet 1.
Okay, I would like to make that motion.
And I can second that motion.
Okay, so let's take 28 first. So I have a motion to deny.
Wait, we're making sure that's correct.
Is
Yeah,
there
the
a
house
question?
wouldn't apply. And I recognize that the house does not apply for Greenbelt.
Yeah, the residents
qualify.
and land associated with the residents doesn't qualify, but everything around it, if you find that there are plants in the ground that they're actively devoted to urban farming, then it could qualify.
Okay,
And both parties would have appeal rights, the assessor and the taxpayer, if somebody wasn't satisfied with what the board does.
okay, obviously, yeah.
Item 28 was a motion to deny.
Yeah.
Commissioner Sakovic, are you still okay
Okay.
with that?
And I'm good with that, yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to deny 28. All in favor, say aye.
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 And then the motion on 29 was to approve.
And is that confusing to future reviewers of item number 29? We got 2 serial numbers in conflict potentially here.
That's why we denied 28, because it's the same property parcels. So we'll deny 28, approve 29, so that we're not approving the same thing for 2 different parcels.
Yeah,
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just considering down the road if that's going to be a conflict or not. But I'll go with it and approve it.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that's approved. Okay, thank you for your time, everyone.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.